I mean, okay, student, I'm sorry I cannot come to campus because I got stomachache, so I need to stay at home. Okay, today we will discuss about system modeling, a mathematical approach. As we know that actually, in the other country, industrial engineering sometimes called as system engineering. It means that we also need to know, about system engineering. Why? Because I already explained you, actually, when we try to look around, there are a lot of system around us, but maybe we can say that everything in around us is a system, as long as you can try to identify, as long as we can have, the thing has input, process, and output. It means that that thing is system, like that. And because we are in engineering, then we also have some feel, how to improve the performance of system. In the beginning of the class, I already explained you about the jargon, of our field. The jargon is there is no best work way or best work method, but there always better work method, like that. It means that, based on that jargon, actually we have feel that we believe, we still can improve a system. Even though after improvement, we also feel that we still can improve again, and improve again, like that. That's why, we need to know about system modeling. Why we need to model system? Because, for improvement, actually there are two ways. We can try to analyze the system directly, and we can try to improve it directly. But you can imagine it will be very time and cost consuming. You can imagine if you want to, let's say, you want to improve performance of airport system. It means that you need to go, to the airport, and after that you need to have permission from the airport authorization or the authorized people, there. And after that, you can try to improve the performance. You can try to suggest, new work method in the airport system. And after that, sometimes, you need to stop. You need to stop the business process, and after that you can try, to implement your solution. And after that, if the solution is not good, then you need to revise again. So you can imagine, in order to go to airport, of course, you need time. In order to process the permission, in order to get the permission, of course, you need to follow some steps. It takes time. And after that, after you propose some solution, also you need time. You need time to implement it. When the implementation is not good, not so good, you need to revise again. You need to re-implement again, and so on. It will be time and cost consuming. So how we can have, we can try to implement the second technique called as modeling the system. Modeling the system means that we don't need, to put on the real system. We don't need to, we don't need to implement the solution that we suggest, to the real system. No, we just try to model first, and based on the model, after we believe, the solution is good, then we can propose a solution to the real system, like that. And here today, in this morning, we'll discuss about a technique that can be used to do system modeling. This one called as mathematical approach. Mathematical modeling, I mean, like that. Okay, student. So we are here, number 12. Okay. Now for the introduction, industrial engineering is very relevant with system engineering, as I explained before. And system, we can see in the definition of system is a group of, let me get this one. Okay, a group of system elements that cooperate each other to achieve a common objective. It means that, before we try to model a system, then we must be able to identify the elements of the system, and also we must be able to identify the cooperation, between the elements, and also we must be able to identify the common objective, the same objective, of every elements of the system, like that. So here, three keywords of system: the elements, the cooperation, and also the common objective. And system engineering, is system improvement. It requires system analysis. If you're talking about system engineering, actually, it is about system improvement. Why we need to improve the system? Previously, I already explained about that. And in order to improve system, it requires system analysis. That's the background. Why we need to know about system modeling, because we need to analyze a system. System analysis. Two ways to analyze a system. See, the first is direct analysis, as I explained before. For example, we go to airport to analyze mechanism of helicopter blades movement. See, then if you want to analyze the mechanism of the helicopter blade movement, then the first way is, we go directly to the airport. Okay, there are advantage and disadvantage actually. The advantage is we can get primary data from the real system. We can get real data because we see and we analyze the real the real system of the plate the helicopter plate system, and could get real and correct understanding about the system. So because we observe the real system directly, then we can get real and correct understanding about the system. But besides the advantage, there are disadvantages. The first is time and cost consuming. I already explained about this. We need to go to the airport system. We need to, we need to, process the permission. We need to process to get the permission, and after that, and sometimes it is very dangerous. Very dangerous. You can imagine. If we want to analyze the mechanism, the movement mechanism of the helicopter blade, then we need to ask the pilot of the helicopter to turn on to start the helicopter. And sometimes we need to pay, of course, And after that, you can imagine, if we want to analyze the mechanism of the blade, then we need to go to the top of the helicopter, and it is very dangerous, So sometimes impossible to analyze a system directly because it will be time consuming, cost consuming, very dangerous, and maybe the permission process will be very, very long, and sometimes we feel very lazy to process it. And the second, we can try to analyze the system through a model. Through a model. What is model? Model is a simplification of a system. If we want to analyze a system using model, there are advantages and disadvantages as well. For the advantages, of course, we can save the time and also the money or the cost, and it will be more safe, because we don't need to observe the real system directly, but we can try to analyze the system through the model of the system. But there are several disadvantages. The first is sometimes could not get primary data. What does it mean? It means that we can get the data, but from the model of the system. You can imagine, for example, helicopter toy, mainan helicopter toy is a model of the real helicopter system. So if you want to analyze, the mechanism of the helicopter blade, then actually what we need to do is we just need to go to the toy shop. So then we purchase helicopter toy, and after that we can try to analyze the mechanism of the blade from the toy, not from the real helicopter system. So in this situation, sometimes we cannot get primary data. Sometimes the real data, the data that come from the real helicopter system, is not represented by the toy, like that. It's like that, then we cannot get the primary data. That's why, we need to purchase, good quality helicopter toy. It means that in terms of analysis, we need to have good model in order to analyze the real system. When the when the model is invalid, analysis result will be invalid due to invalid data. If we purchase low quality helicopter toy, then we try to analyze the mechanism of the blade based on that low quality toy, then maybe we can get invalid analysis. Why? Because the toy doesn't really represent the real helicopter system, like that. Okay, student. And as industrial engineer, we must be able to develop a system model for analysis. Now, for this subject, we decide to use the second technique, which is through model, analysis through a model. It means that as industrial engineer, we must be able to develop a system model for analysis. Like that. Okay, student. Now we focus on system model for analysis. We already decide, not go to the real system directly, but we try to improve the system through the analysis of the model. So we focus on the system model now. For the analysis, usually there are two types of system models for analysis. We can use mathematical model or we can use simulation. In this subject, we will learn both, mathematical model and simulation. But for this morning, we focus on the mathematical model first. The question is when we must use mathematical model or we must use simulation. Okay, we can use or we must use mathematical model when the parameters in the system could be identified exactly. The parameters mean the data. Yeah, the data. For example, the speed of the fluid movement. Yeah, if we can identify exactly, then we can use mathematical model. And yeah, we expect, yeah, as system engineer, we expect the best solution. We expect the maximum solution. If like that, then we must use mathematical model. Another condition, yeah, when we cannot identify the parameters of the system exactly, but we can estimate, just estimation, yeah, not the real, not the exact parameter value, but just the estimation. Then in the situation, yeah, we can use simulation. But we also understand when we are using simulation, we cannot get, yeah, the best condition. We cannot get the best solution, but we can get better condition or solution as long as, yeah, the new system is better than the previous system. Then we can say it's okay, no problem. Yeah, but in our mind, we believe, yeah, this is not the best. Yeah, just better compared to the previous condition, like that. Yeah, so if we feel it is okay, then we can use simulation. But if as engineer, yeah, we expect the best solution, we expect the maximum solution, then from this explanation, we understand we cannot use simulation. Yeah, no choice, we must use mathematical model. Yeah, like that. So it depends on the condition. Yeah, if the condition not force us to suggest the best solution, then it's better for us to use simulation. Yeah, like that. Okay, now please focus on the mathematical model, yeah. And next week, I think we can start to discuss about the simulation, yeah. For this morning, we focus on mathematical model. Now we go to the definition first. Definition of mathematical model is a mathematical model expresses in quantitative terms the relationship between the various components as defined in the formulation phase. Okay, so then, so actually, mathematical model is, yeah, quantitative representation, yeah, of the relationship, yeah, between the various components, yeah, in the system. And the relationship could be expressed by a mathematical model such as equation. See, yeah, Q equals to AX plus BY. Because here we use Q equals to, so it called as equation. Or, yeah, we also can use inequalities. Yeah, for example, AX plus BY less than C. Because less than is not equals to, it means that, yeah, in this situation we use inequalities. Or sometimes, yeah, we can use function. Okay, for example, yeah, function of x equals to ax plus b over x. So like that, then, yeah, we know that we will use function, yeah, not equation or inequalities, like that. Okay, so then, and controllable aspect of a problem are referred to as the decision variables. Okay, if you want to control some things, yeah, we feel we can control some things, so we want to control this thing in order to improve the performance of the system, in order to maximize, yeah, the function of the system, and this thing that we can control called as decision variable, or the alternative course of action. For example, in an inventory system, yeah, previously you already learned about this, yeah, we can design the order quantity or the queue. We can decide, we can control the value of order quantity or queue. So, because we can control the value of Q, then Q will be in the decision variable. We also know, yeah, when we conduct inventory analysis, the objective is to minimize the total cost of inventory. So here, yeah, we can try to formulate, yeah, that Q is one of the decision variable, and the objective is to minimize the inventory total cost, or just right to minimize the total cost. Ada. Okay, sudah. So far any question, please? Still clear, yeah? Because no response from you. Okay, thank you. Now we go to the next slide. Aspect that measure how well the objective of the decision maker are achieved are called the performance measure or measure of effectiveness expressed by a function called as objective function. Okay, for example, when the issue is cost, we already know we are talking about cost means that as engineer we must minimize it. Yeah, or if we talk about profit, of course, yeah, naturally we want to maximize it. Yeah, like that. Yeah, that's why it called as objective function. Yeah, it depends on the characteristic, yeah, of the objective function, whether must be maximized or minimized, like that. Okay, and uncontrollable inputs called as parameters, coefficient or constant. Okay, for example, purchase price per unit product is set by supplier. So as company, we cannot, yeah, determine the purchase price. Yeah, of course, yeah, we can request to get discount. Yeah, but it depends on the supplier. Yeah, supplier can say yes or no. Yeah, so supplier can accept our request or reject our request. Like that. Yeah, it means that purchase price, yeah, determined by supplier, not determined by our company. It means that we cannot control it. It's called as uncontrollable. Okay, sudah? Yeah. So here, these uncontrollable variables called as parameters. Yeah, called as parameters. Okay, let's continue. Mathematical expression that limit the range of values that a decision variable can assume are called constraint. Okay, for example, yeah, we want to control the value of Q, order quantity. But as engineer, we also know, we also understand that we cannot order less than zero, right? You can imagine, yeah, you can imagine as manager, purchasing manager, I mean, just for example, yeah, we order minus 5 units. So how? Yeah, it will make your supplier confused, right? It means that we need to have, yeah, we need to have some limitation for the Q value. The first limitation is, yeah, the Q must greater than or equals to 0. Why equals to 0 still can? Yeah, because, yeah, we can order 0 unit. It means that we don't want to do order, yeah. There is no order from us, yeah. So it means that we order 0 unit, yeah. Okay, and if we try to consider the transporter capacity, then our order must less than or equals to the capacity of the transporter, or C. Yeah? In this situation, the transporter capacity symbolized with C. So here we can have inequalities Q less than or equals to C, or yeah, we can bring the C, yeah, to the left, then it becomes Q minus C less than or equals to 0. Okay, student, and conflicting constraint would produce invisible solution. See, please be careful, yeah, when determining the you know the how you call it, the constraint, yeah. Okay, for example, when transporter capacity is 50 and there is rule from supplier to order minimum 100, see, yeah, it will conflict, yeah. Then the constraint will be like this, like see, yeah, like this, yeah. Q must less than or equals to 50 because of the transport capacity. But in another side, yeah, rule from the supplier, we must order more than 100. So from here, we have conflict actually, yeah. In one side, we need to have Q that less than or equals to 50. In another side, we need to have Q, yeah, and the value is more than 100. So if like that, of course, yeah, it will be conflict. Yeah, and this constraint called as conflicting constraint. If we have conflicting constraint, we cannot solve our model. That's why please make sure when you develop your own mathematical model, you need to double check again. After you finish, you check again and double check again. Yeah, to make sure that every variable already have, yeah, the constraint, and every constraint will not conflict each other. Okay, sudah? For example, yeah, here we have example. I give you time to read and have a look, yeah, and understand, sudah? Please read it and try to understand first.
Kayak disuruh read it and try to enggak lah, enggak try.
Okay, sudah? Ready ya? The company produces two products, namely product A and product B.
Yes.
When the company sells the product, the company will get profit per unit product for product A and product B at ITR 250 and 300 respectively. It means that the profit of A is 250 and the profit of B is 300. In order to make a unit of products A and product B, there are two types of required materials, namely material P and material Q. So in order to produce A and B, there are two materials, two required materials called as P and Q. With the requirement is 10 units and 50 units of material P respectively, and 20 units and 10 units of the material Q respectively. Information from the warehouse, there are 300 units of P and 450 units of Q available. Okay, so then from this condition, from this explanation, then we can develop the mathematical model like this. Or before that, there is a further question. What are the decision variables? Okay, so then I go back again, The first question is, what are the decision variable? What are the things that we can control it? It is controllable. So from here, we know that we want to control the number of A and B produced. We want to control the number of product A and product B produced by the company. Okay, student, and what are the parameters of the system? Parameters is the given data, so we cannot control it. For example, the profit, profit of every product. A equals to 150 and B equals to 300, it is given, so we cannot control it. And also, the requirements, the material requirements, let's say for material P, the requirements of product A is 10 units and product B is 15 units. We cannot control it. It is given. And also material P, okay. Sorry, Q, no. Material P and Q, material Q, material Q, also same, the usage is also given. Information from the warehouse, there are 300 units of P. Stock of P, and stock of Q also given. We cannot control it. It's called as parameters. And the next is develop a mathematical model to optimize the company system. See? Then, this is the result. We are talking about profit, right? So here, we want to maximize the profit, not minimize the profit, Profit equals to 250 of A. A means then the product A, product A that can be sold, and plus 300 of B. B also same, product B that can be sold. Subject to C, the availability of A is 300, and 1 unit of A, will use P, at 10 units. So here we write 10 times A plus 15 times B must less than or equals to 300, not more than the stock of P. We do the same for Q, because the stock of Q is 450. Then, we can arrange the inequalities, 20A plus 20B less than or equals to 450. Okay, and A and B must be greater or equals to 0. What is A and B value to maximize the TP? Okay. Since there are only two fixation variables, so it could be solved using graph method. I think you already learned about this in your high school. Okay, draw a line for every constraint on graph and find the optimum A and B value. For example, in constraint 1, when A equals to 0, B equals to 20. We reverse it. When B equals to 0, A equals to 30. So from there, we can try to draw the line, And constraint number 2, when A equals to 0, B equals to 22.5. And when B equals to 0, A will equals to 22.5. And based on that, we also can draw a line, a line like that. And this is the line, student, Then you can see, there is cross dot, here, cross point, here, cross point. So here, by substituting red, blue, and yellow color point value in the objective function, the blue color point value would maximize the profit. The blue, this one, this one, the point, the point. Okay, and that point, A equals to 7.5 and B equals to 15. With total profit equals to 63.75. Like that. Okay, so then that's the way. Yeah, that's the way to solve this model using graph method. Yeah, but if there are more than two, more than two decision variable, then we cannot use this technique anymore. Yeah, but for now, I just want to introduce you. That's why here the example is with two variables only. Okay, sudah? I think there is no question. Yeah, let me continue. In a distribution system, or maybe I give you time to read to have a look. Yeah, so we will start again. Another 3 minutes.
Baca. Sepuluh empat dua. 10/42. Suruh baca lagi example, suruh baca lagi. Bangun-bangun nyari hijau. Menghilang kehidupan. Mau makan cok, lapar. Anjing.
Okay, student, let's start again. Yeah. Okay, this is a distribution system. Yeah, there are 3 plants to supply 7 customers. Yes, so there are 3 sources to supply 7 customers. Yeah, and total transportation cost to deliver products from plant to customer will be calculated based on a unit product transportation cost. Okay, and all plants are allowed to supply all customers with a certain demand, and total product transported from a plant is constrained by the plant capacity, of course. Yeah, every source, every plant has capacity, so it will be the constraint. Yeah, so the total products transport from every plant must less than or equals to the capacity, like that. Below is the data about the transportation cost per unit product from a plant to customers, and customers demand, and also the plant capacity. Okay, let me explain how to interpret this table. Yeah, student. There are 3 plants. Let's say P1, P2, and P3. Yeah, 3 sources, 3 factory. Yeah, like that. And there are 7 customers: C1, C2, C3 until C7. Every plant has capacity. So from here, from the last column, you can see, there is capacity data. 120 is the capacity of the first plant. 100 is the capacity of the third plant, like that. Yeah, and every customer here, has demand. Yeah, so from the last row, you can see, there are demand data. For example, 50 is the demand of C1. 60 is the demand of C4, and 30 is the demand of C7. Okay, student. And in the middle, there is data about the transportation cost per unit products, from P to C. From P to C. For example, from P1 to C1, the cost per unit product is 7. From P2, another example, from P2 to C4, from this table, we know the cost is 3, per unit products. Another example again. From P3 to C6, from P3 to C6, the cost is 4, per unit products. That's the way, that's the way to interpret this table. Okay, student. Before we continue, before we develop the model, we must understand here we are talking about cost. It means that we will have minimization function. So before we develop the mathematical model, we need to know about the decision variables. The decision variables, as manager, we want to decide the number of product transported from P to C, from every P to every C, from every plant to every customer. Okay, that's the decision variables, And what are the parameters of the system? Okay, we just refer to this table, because the known data is already summarized, in this table. The number of plant, it is parameters, there are 3 plants. The number of customer, it is parameters, there are 7 customers. The capacity of every plant, also parameters. The demand of every customer, also parameters, and also the transportation cost per unit from every plant to every customer, also parameters. Because we know, we can get this data in advance, before we model the system using mathematical model. Okay, student, and develop mathematical model to optimize the company system. Okay. Now here, we try to arrange, the first we try to arrange the objective function. As I explained before, because we are talking about cost, means that our function must be minimization function. That's why here we write minimize PC. PC equals to total cost, stands for total cost, equals to, okay, student, here, after we identify the decision variable, we need to symbolize, we need to symbolize every decision variable. For example, okay, I go back again to this table. From P1 to C1, from P1 to C1, we can decide the number of products to be transported, from P1 to C1. Okay, we can define, means that until now we still have no value, but we can define later. We can ask the computer to help us to determine, the best value, for that quantity, for the products, product transported from P1 to C1. Because until now we don't know the value, so we need to symbolize it. Let's say we use X11. Why X11? Not by X? Why not X12 and so on? One here represent the P1, and one here, then the next one represent the C1. Okay, sudah. So here, because X11 will be in this square, in the square. Please see my cursor, because P1, 11 means that from P1 to C1, will be in this cell. The value of the cell is 7. So the total value will be 7 times X11. And then, so this one, now you understand, from where this component of the total cost comes. 7 times X11. We check again, 3 times X12. X12 means that the number of products transported from plant 1 to customer 2. From plant 1 to customer 2. We can check, the value is 3, From plant 1 to customer 2, the value of the cost is 3 per unit. So here, we write 3x12 plus x13 and so on until x7x37. Okay, student. And here we also need to arrange the constraint, the constraint. First, we have considered that we must fulfill customer demand. In order to satisfy our customer, of course, we must fulfill customer demand. So from here, student, I use this table to explain. From P1 to C1 plus from P2 plus C2 plus from P3 to C3 must equals to the demand of C1, like that. So total number of product transported from P1 to C1 and from P2 to C1, and from P3 to C1, the total must equals to the demand of C1. So here we can write X11 plus X21, and the number of product from plant 2 to customer 1 plus X31 must equals to 50. 50 from where? From the demand of the customer 1. We can check from here, 50. For customer number 2, we do the same. So this is the constraint for the demand constraint. If you have question, you can interrupt me. But if you don't interrupt me, it means that I assume you understand. So I will continue. The next constraint is the number of products transported from a plant cannot exceed its capacity, of course. So here, the capacity of the first plant is 120. I'm sorry, 120. So X11, the number of products from P1 plus X12 still same from P1, plus X13 still same from P1, plus X14 still same from P1, and so on, must less than or equals to 120. We do the same for every plant, like that. So we have this constraint and this constraint. Okay, since number of the decision variable is more than 2, because we want to decide the number of product transported from every plant to every customer. There are 3 plants and 7 customers, so we will have roughly around 21 variables. Then we cannot use graph method anymore. We can use solver, solver. Then this is the way to develop the solver. Later you can study for yourself. Then when we click solve, then this is the result. This is the result. So from here we know, P1 to C1 there is no delivery. From P1 to C2, there is delivery at 40 units of products, and so on. That's the way to interpret this solution. Okay, and the total cost is 1,270, and this is the minimum total cost. From here we can check the sum of the total product from P1 to C1, from P2 to C1, from P3 to C1 equals to 50. Exactly same with the demand of C1. From here also we can check the total of the product transported from P1 to every customer here equals to 120, 80, 100. It is also same with the target, with the constraint. So from here we know this is the decision variable. You can see this square, this table, this square, 0, 40, 50, 0, 0, 0, 0, 30. This is the decision variable. So as manager we know we can ask our driver to go to, let's say we are manager of P1, so we can ask our driver to go to C2 by with bring 40 units of products. After that, goes to C3 to deliver 50 products and so on, like that. Okay, student, I think that's all for this morning discussion. Before we close our class, is there any question, please?
Boleh nggak? Excuse me, sir. I'm still confused about this one. How can P1 to C1 can be 0? Sir? Can you explain it a bit?
This one, the result of the Excel computation. This one here. This one. This is we compute using Excel using solver. Maybe later next week. I will explain you how to use Excel. How to use solver. When we click solve, this one. Here we have close. We have solve button. When we close, we click solve. Then Excel solve our model. So this one is the result of the Excel.
Automatic.
Yes, automatically.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, student, any question again? No? If no, I think that's all yeah for today's discussion. I will stop share. Then also I will upload yeah the material to the classroom. You can study for yourself. And next week, you please remind me yeah to explain yeah how to develop the model using Excel because it's very important yeah because we are industrial engineer. We must be familiar with Excel. Any
Okay,
question?
sir.
Ado?
No, thank you, sir.
Okay, if no, then that's all for today. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, sir.
Ya, welcome. I end the meeting ya, sudah.
Okay.
Ini nggak ada absen, Bro.
Tahu.